Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson, and this is episode 243 of this program. Episode 243 is tasty. At least that's how I feel about it. The aroma of episode 243 is enticing me. It's tempting me. And so what are we talking about in episode 243 of Solutions with Courtney Anderson? Well, this show is part of our Help Situation Spotlight series. And this is a series where it's exactly what it sounds like. Someone in our community, like yourself, reaches out and shares an idea. And they say, hey, look, I need help. Here's the situation I want you to shine your spotlight on in this show. And that's where we get the ideas. So please come to CourtneyAnderson.com. That's our central main website, and send me a message if you have a show topic idea for this series or any other of our series. They all come from you, community members. And our show topic today is an interesting one. I said it was tasty, and I believe it will be, but I think also linguistically it's interesting. So specifically, here in episode 243, as part of our Help Situation Spotlight series, our topic is, I do not ask for help enough. I do not ask for help enough. I do not ask for help enough. And as I said, it's tasty intellectually, substantively. And I said it was interesting linguistically because our series is Help Situation Spotlight, and our show is I don't ask for help enough. I do not ask for help enough. Yet as we were putting the show notes together and looking through the lineup, and I was deciding whether or not I thought this would be an appropriate show to cover, it amazed me how important this issue is. And I thought it's perfect. Because the premise, of course, of the series, Help Situation Spotlight series, is I said that people share with me ideas, concerns, problems, challenges, and we work through potential solution sets, and we constantly focusing on surpassing our goals. And yet, one of the real obstacles for people, including myself at times, is we don't even ask for help enough. So many of the ideas and issues that we could be addressing, things that we could be working to solve, we don't, because we don't even know about them, because people don't ask. And as I said, this has been on the show topic list. And what I mean by that is, so people share ideas with me. So specifically, people submit things and say, hey, here's something I'd like you to cover on a show. Or I talk to somebody where I'm giving a speech or conducting corporate education. Also, sometimes ideas are sort of reinforced by something I'll read or see just in my own life. And that's what happened with this. So I was watching a news report, just sort of a regular news report. And there was a interview with someone who was talking about a volunteer organization in the community they lived in, and she said something at one point like, I don't like asking for help, or I'm not someone that asks for help. I just do, I just do without. When she was describing this volunteer community organization they were reporting on, and that she had apparently at some point reached out to them, but she was almost like a disclaimer to the news reporter, was saying, but I don't normally do this, right? I don't ask for help. I'm not one of those people who asks for help. And I thought to myself, wow, it's completely backwards. In other words, why would we take pride in not asking for help? It's not logical. But as I looked back through the show notes and I was thinking things through, I think sometimes people get caught in this trap where they perceive that asking for help in and of itself is a negative, and that it's a quote good thing not to ask for help. And sometimes people will say, well, I'm too embarrassed. I'm too embarrassed to ask for help. Or they'll say, I have too much pride. I have too much pride. So I won't ask for help. And again, when I say it's backwards, my argument is that these are not patterns and practices that are going to accelerate someone surpassing their goals, and they're definitely not going to help somebody sustain a life of increased joy and contentment, which are the things that we talk about in all of our programs. I share with you this concept of practicing the joyful art of business. We have a series on that, but it's also a concept that's fundamental to all of the programs and practices. And the idea is you're not going to just focus on one discrete aspect. And in other words, how much money do you make, or what's your title, or how prestigious is something. But you're going to ask yourself, like, is this, how do you feel? Are you happy? And this concept where we don't ask for help is one of the most self-sabotaging and self-defeating things that I could even, imagine. And as I said, I saw this news report, and then I was looking back over the show notes, and I thought, my initial question is, who does this, right? Like, who doesn't ask for help? That's the smartest thing you can do. And we did a show earlier that we talked about one of the smartest things that you can do is to say, I don't know, right? So we were talking about how imperative it is that you tell people, hey, I don't know. Instead of, pretending like you know something out of, embarrassment or some unrealistic expectation you have that you're supposed to know everything in the history of the universe, which is not even, feasible. And we talked about the concept of you say to people, hey, I don't know. And then we did a version of what this show is talking about. You ask for help. You ask people, can you share with me what that is, or give me a resource, or point me to a book or a link, or, help me learn what this is, because I don't know. And in that show, and if you haven't listened to that show, or then go to CourtneyAnderson.com and just, put that in. And I'll put the show link on the show page notes for this episode. This is episode 243 when you come to CourtneyAnderson.com. Which is our awesome sort of central repository library, where we have headed toward 1,000 different pages of content, all of our different programs and show notes and the blog, and adding seminars and workshops and ebooks, and there's so much, right? But it's meant to be bookmarked and then to be a resource for you to come back to over time for dealing with different issues, and that we're partners together, right, in your success. And so, again, I'll put the link to the smartest thing you can say is I don't know, if you haven't taken part in that show. But it didn't really dawn on me until I was working through this program today, right? I do not ask for help enough. Until we were doing this program, it didn't dawn on me. I made an assumption in the program where we talked about how intelligent it is to say, I don't know, right? I made the assumption that people were then asking, that part of that is you're asking for help. You don't just say, I don't know, and leave it at that. You say, I don't know, and then you ask the person to explain it to you, or to give you a resource again where you can learn about it yourself, or bring you up to speed or something, right? Like, you don't just say I don't know and then just sort of drop the mic, and leave the stage at that point. I don't know, I'm done. No, not really. It goes hand in hand with you ask for help. And in fact, by saying to somebody I don't know, then it's implied that you're asking them for help. Since I don't know, do you know? Can you help me? Explain this to me, or take me to someone who can, or send me a link to something I can read, or let's get moving, right? Like, I don't know. And when I thought back through just my own life, how often this has come up, right? Where somebody is suffering because they don't have the skills to understand that what you do to succeed is you ask for help. And you're going to ask for help a lot in life, because there's so many things you're never going to know, or you're never going to know at the knowledge level that somebody else knows. So, for example, I recently sold a vehicle, and I'm someone, and I talk about it in a lot of our series where we talk about finance. Some of my own, just personal habits, and I tend to be someone who buys things and I hold them, buy and hold, and I do that with a lot of stuff. So I'm the person who has the old, at this point, probably very old, like the old televisions that nobody makes anymore, that are like a piece of furniture because they're so big and heavy. Because now they have all these flat TVs and everybody's gone really flat, and people hang TVs on the wall. I don't even have any of those. I have my main sort of big, you know, TV that I watch is literally like a big piece of furniture. I guess at this point it might need to be in a museum. And I've shared before that the last time I moved houses and I moved that big TV, the movers were young guys, you know, probably late teens, early 20s, and they just kept remarking, you know, probably in their lives, I'm assuming they hadn't even seen one of those things in real life. It's like something out of again, a museum, right? Like, who has this? A big heavy TV, but everybody has a flat TV. You can hang on the wall. They're much lighter. You know, they don't even make the TVs that I have. But my point is, I buy stuff and I hold it. I buy it and I use it. It's not like I don't use it. You know, if you take care of things, then it's amazing how long stuff lasts. You know, clothes. I have clothes that are that are they look great. I keep my clothes really neat. I always, you know, have everything nice in my closet and immediately cleaned or washed and ironed. And but a lot of I have stuff that's not even from this decade, and it looks good to me, right? Like, so I buy and hold stuff, and so when I buy and hold vehicles, usually I buy vehicles, uh, you know, mostly pre-owned, so that I can get something that's really cool, but that I'm not having to take the total bite of the full price, and then I hold it. So I had a car, you know, that I had for 17 years, and I only let go because it got to the point where it literally, you know, it I fixed it up and fixed it up, and it got to the point it just sort of, you know, it ended its life, right? It could not keep going. 17 years is a while for a car. So I relatively recently sold a car that I hadn't had 17 years, but I had for a while. And, you know, every time I do that, it's a whole new chance to say, I need help. Because I don't sell cars every day. It's not a business that I own, or I'm a professional car salesperson, or I have a dealership or a small, you know, lot where I sell cars. I don't do that. So every time it's, you know, it's re-educating myself. I need help. How much, you know, what's a good price? And what might be a good buyer? What's the best process for me? And then I purchased a replacement vehicle, right? So it's the same type thing, right? I need help. And there's so many things in life that you're going to learn when you just ask for help. Because if you don't ask for help, then nobody knows that you need it. And it's not a prideful thing to say stoically, I won't ask for help. Or to play the martyr, right? Where you in your mind say, "Oh, I'll just suffer. I don't have anything that I need, and I'm suffering, but I won't ask for help. I'll just be a martyr." This is not healthy, and it's not logical, because it's not getting you where you want to go. You know, if you want something and you don't ask for help, then you're making it more difficult for you to achieve that thing. So why would you do that? Again, it's self-sabotaging, it's self-defeating, it's not logical, and yet it's relatively pervasive. And again, there are people who, like I said on this news piece I'd seen that, you know, sort of re-triggered this for me. People who need help will say loudly for people to hear. They'll say things like, I don't ask for help. Wow. I'm thinking, why would you admit that? That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to say, I don't ask for help, because it implies, you know, basically one of two things. Either you literally know everything in the history of the known and the unknown, I guess, right? Of all things that could be experienced, you know everything. You know everything about finance and construction and clothing and marketing and transportation and food and, you know, veterinary science. Like, you just know it all. So you don't ask for help, which is, I believe, inaccurate. I'm just going to put that out there. And arrogant? Or you just like to self-sabotage? Like, everybody needs help. All of us do. And even when you have an area where you have a lot of knowledge, and I'm fortunate that I had the opportunity to, you know, pursue my love of learning through, you know, formal and informal educational experiences. So I have depths of knowledge in areas. And that's great. And I use a lot of that. You know, I love learning about law. So I just so happens that I'm a lawyer, and then I get to use it in my professional services for volunteer work and for legal clients when I'm able to accept those. I'm also, you know, I love business and entrepreneurship. So fortunately, I was able to study that and earn a master of business administration. And then I earned another master of science degree where I got to also add additional, business content, and I get to study. And I also, intentionally went out and obtained jobs where I'm on the faculty of universities teaching. Guess what? Business and law, all the stuff I love. So yeah, that's wonderful when I'm in my areas of depth. Yet all the other stuff in life, pricing a pre-owned vehicle, I don't know, understanding the different engine options on something I'm looking at to purchase, I don't know. Sitting around and trying to figure out, you know, what I want to order at a restaurant I've never been to. I don't know. I ask. I ask what? I ask for help. It's as simple as, I'm at a restaurant I've never been to. I don't know. I ask the person who's there helping us, the wait staff. Hi, I'm looking at this. What do you recommend? Oh, I like things that are spicy, or I like things that are sweet. Is that sweet? Is that kind of spicy? Oh yeah. Well, here's what I know or don't know. Ask. What kind of goofy person would I be going around pretending that I know stuff and not asking for help when I need it? And then I'll order something and okay, this is a sad example, anecdote. So, I like sweet things, but I don't like anything that tastes at all like any type of chocolate. I just can't. Since I was a kid, like I've never liked chocolate. It just tastes kind of bitter, and the aroma of it, the taste of it, like all just it's not at all appealing in any way, right? Okay, so I one time I was looking at a menu and I saw like it was on the dessert section. So usually dessert in myself, hey, you had me at hello, right? I love dessert. The challenge is though that I know that if anything has chocolate in it, then I'm ugh, like I don't like it, and it's been like this my whole life. So as a little kid, it was tough because when you're a little kid and everybody's at having lunch at school or somebody's birthday, and you say you don't like chocolate, the other kids tease you and make fun of you, or they did for me. Maybe it's different now because this was a while ago, right? Because it was different, right? You stick out. But as an adult, even sometimes people don't get it. Like I'm not trying to. People I think sometimes think, oh, she's just saying that because she wants to stay fit and healthy. No, that's not it at all. I literally don't like the taste of it. It tastes bad to me. I don't have a better way to describe it in this setting. So I cannot have anything that has chocolate on it, or that's got chocolate sprinkles, or it's got chocolate and something else, because it'll ruin the whole thing for me. And it literally tastes so bad to me, right? All right. So I was at a place, I was looking at a menu, I saw dessert, I was feeling happy because I love dessert, and then there was something on there that I didn't know exactly what it was. I didn't know exactly what the ingredients were. And I did what you're not supposed to do because it gives you bad outcomes, and it's arrogant. I didn't ask for help. So I didn't ask anybody else I was eating with or the people at the restaurant. I just said to myself, well, I think I know what this is, right? Which I didn't. So I ordered it. It came out. I looked at it. I thought, oh, it looks good. And then I, put my my utensils, and I put a bite in my mouth. And then guess what I taste? What do I taste? Chocolate. I sure did, because there's chocolate inside of it. And now, now it tastes bad. And now I'm gonna have to waste this, right? Because I don't want to eat it. I'm embarrassed. Now I have to have a discussion with people. What's wrong? And I'm thinking what's wrong is I didn't ask for help because I didn't know what this was. I'd seen the word before for this, but I didn't. I had never obviously ordered it, and I did that thing we do when we're not making good choices. I just said, well, I'll just do a shortcut. I'm not going to ask for help, so I didn't. So there I was stuck with something that I was not for me edible, and I wasted resources and I wasted time and I embarrassed myself and all this because I was silly and I wouldn't ask for help. Now, that's an easy, simple, small example. And you may think, who cares, right? But the point is simply this. You got to ask for help for little stuff, and you got to ask for help for big stuff. I certainly have seen a lot of this as a lawyer when people would come to me with serious legal problems that were serious mostly because they didn't ask for help earlier. So, for example, somebody has serious financial problems, right? A lot of people don't go to lawyers until they feel like they have to, which makes sense, and we talk about that in our Law Lovers Lounge series because there's a lot of misconceptions. A lot of people don't know that. I'm talking to the U.S. now, where I am based. Most jurisdictions, there's some place you can go and start with a free consultation or free session so you can at least get an understanding of what's going on, and do you need a lawyer, and if so, what would it consist of, and all this type of thing. So people will wait until a small problem becomes a big problem. You'll also see this with healthcare. There's recent changes in the U.S. that are providing more access, but years ago, people wouldn't go to the doctor because they felt like, I'm not going to go unless it's really bad. The problem, though, is we all know this. If you went when it wasn't really bad to the medical professional, it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal, and they could have helped you quicker and easier. It would have been better outcomes, but people feel like they do the opposite, right? They don't go for help early, they go for help later. And by then it's sometimes, it's incurable or something. And that's what we see in all sorts of things in life, right? You got to ask for help as soon as you can. And the show title is I Don't Ask for Help Enough. You need to be asking for help so much that it's almost like every other word you're saying, I need help. Because you do. And I do. And how on earth are we going to be able to, surpass our goals and to do all these wonderful things in life, the adventure of life, if we're sitting somewhere limited to just our knowledge base? We don't know really much of anything. Even if you're literally the world's leading expert in some area, that's just one area. There's all the other stuff you got to be able to get through in life, and you're going to need help. You have to ask for help. You need to ask for help when you're at work. You need to ask for help when you're not working, but you want to work. You need to ask for help when you're retired. You need to ask for help about things that you think you know a little something. You need to ask for help all the time. And it's amazing how much you'll learn. There's always a little something extra when I ask for help. Like I'm at a store and I'm asking someone that, I want to buy, whatever, a suitcase, luggage, and you ask for help. Even somebody who has, not a lifelong luggage expert, but that by virtue of them working there in a store that sells luggage and suitcases, they're going to have most likely somewhat more knowledge than you do about what people are buying, about what people return, about what people say about different luggage. Why don't you ask? You'd be surprised what you learn. Because whenever I ask for help, which is all the time, it's almost nonstop. Because I don't know. When you ask for help, you get the information that you were asking about usually, or at least you get something somewhat related to your question. But you always usually get a little extra. People will add a little comment or a little extra piece of information. You'll think, wow, I didn't even know that at all. That's interesting. Wow. You learned something. There is nothing embarrassing about asking for help. It's actually, like I said, it's backwards. What's embarrassing is you don't ask. Because if you don't ask for help, that means that you think you literally know everything that's knowable or even that's not knowable, and that's just really ridiculous. Of course you don't. So you need to change the way you view the world and yourself. It's an intelligent and it is a required task to ask for help. Don't just sit there and order something like I did when I was being self-defeating and silly, and order something literally I didn't even know what it was, and then I eat it and I'm like, oh, ew. Why didn't I ask for help? I could have asked anybody that I was eating with. I could have asked the people that worked at the place. I could have asked anybody, or I could have said to myself, I could have said to people, hey, I don't even know what this is. Can you help me and tell me what the ingredients are? And they could have said, hey, this is the ingredients, or they could have said, you know what, I don't even know what the ingredients are. Let me see if I can ask somebody that's in the kitchen. Right? You see how easy this is? You learn something new all the time when you ask for help, but you have to ask for help. And like I said, the really sad and in a way kind of depressing thing about this show topic is people don't ask for help and they self-sabotage themselves in really serious ways. Like their financial goals for financial independence not met because they didn't ask for help. You have to ask for help. Their health, again, literally could be fatal, life and death, because you didn't ask for help enough. You need to ask for help all the time. And you literally use sometimes people will say, well, I don't know how to ask for help. So that's what I was saying. I was saying literally use the words, I need help. Excuse me, can you help me? See, literally just say, help, I need help. Can you help? Is there someone that can help me? Just some variation of that. Use the word help. You could even just say help. You don't even need it itself, right? Help. Although that hopefully would be more of an emergency, right? If you ask for help, there's even really interesting data that shows how, just as humans, how we respond when people ask us for help. And it's usually positive because it makes sense. Who doesn't like somebody to ask for help? Which again is so, which is, we understand that. How do you feel when somebody asks you for help? Now, usually you're, oh, I feel pretty good. It's pretty nice. Somebody asked me for help. Exactly. Now, of course, there are extreme examples where somebody's not really asking you for help, right? So maybe it's somebody in your family or someone at work, and they're just using help, but as a way to uh, you know, abuse your time or be disrespectful. All right, so they don't really need help, right? Maybe they're mad at you and you say, I need help. You better help me and tell me how you want this done. You asked for me to help, you know, make my bed, but exactly how do you want it? So that's not somebody who really is in need of help. They're just using those terms because they're really angry or frustrated, or they're trying to do something to sabotage you. We're not talking about those examples. I'm talking about just regularly in life when somebody says, hey, that's a great briefcase. I'd love one of those. I don't even know where to start. Can you help me? Where'd you get that? You tell them. Most of us, and again, there's data that shows and supports this concept that when someone asks us for help, that we usually respond in a positive way because we like it. It makes us feel good, right? Someone's coming to ask us knowledge, even if we don't know. Even if you say, you know what, I don't know where this briefcase came from. It was a gift. Somebody gave it to me. But thanks, but I'll check on that. And if I see you again, I'll be sure to tell you. Whatever. We were asked for help. One, we know that people see us, right? That they recognize us as an individual, that we matter. It's a big deal in life. And then they asked us for guidance or feedback. Who doesn't like this? Again, when it's given genuinely. Almost nobody. We respond in a positive way. Whether we're, a little child or 110 years old. We like this as humans. Of course I'll help you if I can, and if I don't, I'll go see if there's somebody else I can get to help you, or we like this. So it's such a powerful tool. And in fact, in a lot of the things in the programs where I do programs on specific things, business strategies like sales techniques and things like that, I specifically talk about how to be honest and ask for help, but do it in a way where it also is a win-win, right? So that customers or vendors or peers or supervisors feel that we're all pulling on the same team. There are a lot of things that you can do with the knowledge of understanding of how we respond positively to a request for help. But even if you don't know or apply sort of more sophisticated strategy behind this, you still get it. You're a human and you understand when people ask you for help, it feels good, right? So since you know that, then why aren't you deploying it? There's not a credible reason for somebody not to ask for help enough. This idea that somebody will, you be embarrassed. Again, the word embarrassment, I'm probably not the best candidate because I rarely feel embarrassed. The only time I feel embarrassed is when there's something that through my own just, shortcuts. I didn't take the time, or I did something that I knew wasn't very, that it was silly. The example where I ordered something I didn't know what it was. That's an example. I was embarrassed there because why did I order that dessert? I didn't even know what it was and I didn't bother to ask. So that's a time when I would have felt embarrassed because I created all that and then I added more problems in my own life, right? Because now I didn't even get a dessert that I wanted because I was hungry, which is why I wanted the dessert to begin with. And then I'm stuck with the dessert that now I'm sitting there and I'm not able to enjoy, and then I have to embarrass myself and then ask the restaurant staff to either, can I order something else? You see, I make more work for people. Like, then I am embarrassed, but that doesn't happen that often. When I ask for help, I'm never embarrassed because I did the smart thing. The smart thing is you ask for help. I don't know. When I don't ask for help, which is rare, then I am embarrassed because I did something that was silly. So you should never be embarrassed by asking for help. The act of asking for help by itself is an intelligent decision. So it's not possible to sit around and say you're embarrassed when you did the intelligent thing. The non-intelligent thing is sitting around pretending like you know something you don't know. So we fixed that. This idea of fear. People sometimes say, well, I don't want to ask for help. I need help at work. I don't even know how to get my resume together, or I need help. I don't even understand what the people were discussing in the meeting. They were acronyms and I wasn't even sure what the acronym meant, and I'm embarrassed. People will judge me. They'll judge me and they'll think I'm stupid. So I don't want to ask for help. Okay, here's the deal. Again, nobody knows everything. So we already did that. We talked about it in the other show. The smartest thing you can say is, I don't know, when we went over this. So are there people who will be cruel or belittle you or seek to humiliate you or outright bully you, and use things to make fun of you. Oh, look at how you dressed, or I can't believe you didn't know what that meant in the meeting, or I can't believe you asked that question. Does that happen? Yes, we're humans. And we've done shows and we'll continue to do shows on bullying and all of these types of issues because they're real and they happen. And they're things that can destroy someone's self-esteem if we're not being an adult and mature and having a strategy on how to handle it. And you have to understand the bigger picture. When I was a little kid and somebody made fun of me because I didn't have, fancy or fashionable shoes, and that seems to be a thing around the world. Kids will make fun of other kids. They aren't wearing whatever's cool. The fact that I wasn't wearing what was cool is not the point. I'm not embarrassed because I'm not wearing whatever it is that they're talking about. Maybe I couldn't afford it. Maybe I didn't even know what it was because I'm a nerd, or I'm not interested in fashion, or I don't follow, whatever everybody else is talking about. It doesn't even matter. The point, if someone's going to bully you, they're going to bully you no matter what you wear or you say or how you look or any of that. They're just bullying you because they want to bully you. They just use these excuses about what you said in the meeting or whatever. They're just using that as an excuse. It's totally irrelevant. They're going to bully you and make fun of you when they decide that you're their victim. Done. There's nothing you can say or do to change that. We talk about how to handle it in other programs and how to teach them as quickly as possible that they made a bad choice and you're not a good victim. Right? But you're not going to be able to deter them from saying mean or cruel things to you by not asking questions. You're just going to, in fact, create more opportunities for them to do so because you've been doing things that are not intelligent. It's not intelligent not to ask for help. Intelligent people ask for help all of the time. They say, I don't know, and then they ask for help. You can skip the I don't know in many instances and just go right to the I need help. What exactly does that mean? Can you explain that to me? Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. Can you help remind me of what that's about? Just say that. And I've said this in other programs. It amazes me, especially at work, right? So especially our paid work, your job or your business or profession or whatever. How many people will sit there and somebody will say something or do something, or there'll be an agenda item. And I know many people don't know what that is. Maybe it's an acronym, right? But nobody will ask. They all just sort of sit there. And one of the things I do in my corporate education and training programs is I explain stuff. So if I'm speaking to somebody and I use an acronym or I use an example, I'll go ahead and explain what that is really quickly. Even if that makes some people angry, and I have the feedback sometimes. People come to me and they say, well, I just thought it was condescending. There was no need for you to, explain exactly that reference. We all knew that. Here's the deal. No, we all didn't. I know for a fact because I usually don't know, or I've forgotten, or I need to remember. And I guarantee you, not everybody in the room knew exactly what that was and exactly the way that I was using it in the meeting. That's why I pick a quick 20 seconds to remind everybody, right? Oh, that's that management consultant from Harvard University. Oh, okay, that's who she was referencing. Now I remember that name. So, and the people who have negative feedback are going to have it again, irrespective of what I said or didn't say. They just don't like it, right? They didn't like me or they didn't like the meeting. So they're going to find something to hang that on, which is cool. And it's normal. It's healthy. There could be things I need to improve. Sometimes, even though somebody is intentionally not intending to help you, right? They're just trying maybe to be cruel. It's amazing. You actually still get little nuggets of wisdom out of that kind of interaction. I have. And I also understand this. When people are really upset and are giving me, negative feedback, I'll ask them, help me improve. Specifically, what would you propose I do differently? Help me understand what you would have preferred. You go right back to the intelligence of asking people for help. And again, often, I think even like I said, even when it's not even intentional, like they really didn't want to help me, but there often really is good feedback hidden within maybe their unhappiness with me and just in general, or not me, but just whatever. It could be a bad day. It really could be that they just don't like my voice or, whatever. But often there's really good information within some of that information that's just intended to be cruel. You never know what you'll learn. Like I said a little while ago, the beauty of asking for help is that it's expected and it's a sign of intelligence. Intellectual curiosity is one of the indicators that you use. And so, of course, one of the things I love doing is teaching. I teach primarily graduate university students, yet still, at the beginning of each course, The student who starts asking a lot of questions is usually going to be one of the top uh, perf- um, performers or top scoring students in class, because they care enough that they were organized and they went and they started reading things ahead of time, and they're interested. And intellectual curiosity is, again, one of those hallmarks, and you'll see it throughout education from pre-K through, every level of our human lifespan, that it's a sign, it's a hallmark of intelligence. So keep asking for help. And how you ask for help is really important. That's a whole nother show, right? We have a communications series, or communications communique series, where we talk about how you ask for help. So asking for help in a way that shows people it's authentic, and you really do have an interest in their feedback. Saying to somebody, "Hi, I need some help. Can you help me?" is very different from saying to somebody, "Hi, I need some help. Can you help me?" It's the tone, and it's all of the rest of how the message is conveyed that's really important. Again, that's a different show topic. But if you ask for help, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get some feedback that's not helpful at all. So you may ask for help and somebody will give you information that's totally inaccurate, or they may say to you, "I have no clue. I couldn't be the one to help you, and I don't know who can." All right, good. I always look at it like this. Even when that happens, it has helped me, because that marks them off the list as a potential resource to keep coming back to, because they told me they don't know. And they're not interested enough, or they're not able to point me in another direction. Cool. I can go on to another resource, right? So it's always a win-win. And it's a sign of honesty, because no one knows everything. And I want to briefly mention, as we wrap this up, this idea where people say, "Well, I can just do it all myself. So I'm having financial, challenges, and I can't feed my granddaughter who lives with me, and I'm about to be evicted from my apartment, but I'm not going to say anything to anybody. I'd be too embarrassed. I'll just do it by myself." Okay, first of all, what? Why? You know what? Give people a chance. Give people a chance to contribute to your community of caring. You would be amazed when you ask people for help. One, remember back to that positive feeling. Remember, it's a gift usually for people when you ask them for help, when it's authentic and it's reasonable, right? So you're not asking them for help. "Hi, can you help me? Can I bring you all of my bills and also all of my work problems, and you just do them all and pay all my bills and do my work?" Well, no, that's too much. But when you go to somebody and you ask them for discrete things that they are able, if not to do themselves, but to point you in their direction, they love that, because you saw them, you acknowledged them as an individual, and you went to them as a potentially credible source. People like this. And I'm in, I'm it's tough. I had a thing once, where I was living, and there was like a really tall uh, outlet in the ceiling, and so back when I was in college, I had a college roommate, and we're both, not super tall, right? And we couldn't reach this thing in the ceiling, and so, okay. Uh, and we had another person that we knew from school who lived in the same complex, and he was really, really tall, and I asked for help. And that's not saying that, oh, just because I'm, people my height, I'm not worth anything. No, of course, obviously, if we'd had the resources and we had a vehicle and we could have, gotten to a place to get a ladder or rent a ladder and all that, but we didn't. Doesn't mean that would never happen. It's not an indictment of me as some awful, horrible entity because I'm not able to do the things I'm asking for help for. What it is a positive thing, and it allows other people to come and contribute to my life. And some people get so caught up in this imaginary thing where they pretend that they know everything, which everyone knows is not true, and you push people away. People want to be able to contribute to a relationship, whether you're friends or coworkers or neighbors or on the same volunteer committee. And if somebody gives off this persona to the world that you know everything, you don't need any help, it really, in addition to the fact that it's not true, you prevent yourself from having relationships with people, friendships, and people can make your life better and richer because you're running around pretending you know everything. So it's not saying that I'm awful because I'm a shorter statured to ask somebody who's taller to help me physically with something that will save, resources and time and everything, and will be of help. It's not an indictment. It's not saying anything negative. It's just saying that, hey, nobody can do everything and nobody knows everything. So you know what? Why don't you have opportunities for other people to pitch in and be part of your success in life? You'd be amazed at the friends and the positive relationships you'll have. Just ask for help. No, you can't do it all yourself. No, no one believes that you can. To suffer in silence because you refuse to ask for help is one of the most self-sabotaging and silly things I've ever heard of. If you ask people for help, guess what? Most people, even if they don't know, even if they say, hey, I wish I could help, I can't help you right myself, I'm struggling, I can't help you. But they may say, hey, maybe I know somebody who does. Or maybe together we can both, pitch in together and figure out a way. And when you listen to the Financial Fierceness series, and I talk specifically about, dealing with bills and creditors and, lowering your payments that are due to different accounts and everything. A lot of that you can do on the phone, and you'll be amazed at what you'll get by just asking. Just ask for help. And just say to people, and when we do the financial fierceness, I explain to you my process. I still do every, month or every other month, where I go and I call people that I owe money to, my utilities, and I say, is there a cheaper plan than this? This is expensive. Or I call my mobile phone provider. Is there anything cheaper than this? I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud. Look, here's, a penny saved is a penny earned. I wouldn't know there was a cheaper program unless you asked. You'd be amazed. And I'm proud to say to people, hey, this bill is too much. That may not mean it's too much that I couldn't pay it. It just means I don't want to pay it. And if there's a cheaper way to do this, an alternative plan, then tell me. I ask for help. You need to be an authentic, real, trusting person. And you need to start with being honest with yourself. You don't know everything. You can't do everything. Nobody can. Ask for help. Out and about with strangers at the store. Ask for help. Sometimes they'll be at the store, and this is in the States, in the U.S., and there'll be somebody, again, I'm shorter, right? I'm not the tallest person, but I'm not the shortest person. It's all relative. But sometimes in the grocery store, in the market, they'll have shelves that are really high. I went to the market earlier today, in fact. And there'll be something that's on a tall shelf. I cannot reach it. It's so tall. And I'll ask for help. I'll ask a stranger. I'll see someone who's taller walking by. I'll say, excuse me, can you help me? I'm trying to get this right here on the shelf. And people often will stop and do that. And if I can't find no strangers show up, then I'll go find somebody who works there and ask them to get someone to help me. But sometimes I'll see people out and they're reaching and they're trying to grab something and they're having a similar challenge that I do. It's too tall. But they're not asking anybody for help. Why don't you ask for help? Or even ask me. Maybe I'm not tall enough myself, but I could say, oh, okay, well, let me go see if I can find somebody, that can help us. And I'll go off. You stay right here and, and I'll go see if I can find somebody right around here to help us. And I'll come back and do that. Like, why don't you ask for help? There's nothing wrong with that. It's a smart thing to do. But it's little stuff and it's big stuff. It's just life. You got to change the way you look at life. You're out there like everybody else, and the goal is to figure out what you want and how to surpass those goals, and you want to feel good. You make other people feel good when you ask them for help, and guess what? You get more done. You learn more, you meet other people, you have healthier relationships where you're not running around pretending like you can do everything. It's silly. You need to ask for help. You can never ask for help too much. Like I said, I ask for help so much now. It's a habit, but I'm used to it because I know I need help all the time. Goodness, I need help all the time. And I'm proud to ask for it. And I know it's a sign of I'm striving. I'm striving for myself and I'm striving to help other people, and it's a win-win. But you need to table this. And if you see somebody else do this or you hear somebody else say, well, things are really tough for me, but I didn't say anything to you. I just suffered. And tell them, look, why are you doing that? That's the opposite of smart. You got to tell me when you need help, and I'll pitch in. And if I can't figure it out, we'll find somebody who can. But you got to speak up. The silliness, people run around pretending like they know it all, and I'll just suffer in silence. Why? Don't do that martyr thing. That's an unhealthy thing, and it's not realistic. All of us are in the same boat asking for help. We may ask for help about different things because we all have different areas of knowledge, but we ask for help. So this is, like I said, it's a tasty topic, but it's a really serious topic. And I hope that you never fall into this mindset again, because it's just self-sabotaging and it doesn't get you anything positive in terms of outcome. You got to ask for help all the time, and you got to help other people. And you know what? I'll say to people as much as I can, hey, do you need any help? right? So if I'm at the store, I see somebody and they seem like they need something, they can't quite reach it, I'll say, hi, do you need any help? Right? Remember, feels good. Feels good to help somebody. It feels good to be asked to help. It's a sign of intelligence and intellectual curiosity to ask. Literally, we're going through a laundry list of reasons. So do it. Ask for help. And then you'll be amazed. You plus other people, their knowledge, pitching in and helping. Look, your life, everything is so much better. And then when other people see that you're there and working with us, the rest of humanity together, they'll be comfortable. They'll come to you and say, hey, can you help me with this? You'll say, oh yeah, I'm glad you asked. You know how good it feels to help other people. You know how good it feels to be of service. We've talked about this in other programs. So I hope that you really rethought this concept and realize it's not simple and it's a big deal. And I want you to get out there in the next 24 hours. I want you to have at least one documented instance where you asked for help. I don't care if it's a little thing or a big thing. I don't care if you asked a small child or somebody who's 110 years old or anybody in between. You got to ask for help. It makes all of us together, shared humanity. It's a win-win. I'm grateful you joined me today. As always, I ask you to come to CourtneyAnderson.com. I ask you to leave reviews or ratings where you find our show on iTunes or Libsyn or iHeartRadio or anywhere in the world you find our podcast. And I am also now on Twitter @ZealousBusiness. So thank you for being part of the program today.